Yeah, then I fly back on the 31st. Everyone, please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody here to the Edinburgh Town Council meeting of Monday, August 24th, 2026, 6 p.m. here. Okay, we'll do the roll call here. We'll start with Mr. Bryant.
Here.
Mrs. Sweet. Here. Mrs. Buck. Here. Myself, Miriam Rooks. Councilmember Piercefield is out under the weather tonight. We also have with us Clerk Treasurer Rhonda Barrett, Town Manager John Myers, and our Council Attorney Dustin Huddleston. Okay, Council, next up on the agenda are the minutes for council meeting of August the 10th of 2026. Then we also have an executive meeting of August the 12th, 2026. And we have our special meeting from August the 17th of 2026. So would there be any discussions and Dustin, do you want those voted on separately?
Do those all together if you like, or separate, unless some people are absent.
I think we were all present. I think I had already looked at that.
Mrs. Brooks, there's a correction on the minutes from our last meeting here. I've already talked to Emily and they're correcting it, but there is different from that.
Okay, then you have to vote separate.
Okay, so which set is it?
It's the one from our meeting.
From the August the
Yes.
17th?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, then we will have to.
I'm sorry, no, from the 10th, the
Oh,
regular
August
meeting.
It's the
and
10th.
Regular meeting,
Or the
yes.
12th. That's not, oh, okay, I see. August 10th.
Okay, would you like to discuss anything, Sherry, or
No, I'm good.
in
No,
regards to
but
that?
we talked about it.
Debbie? Mr. Bryant?
No, I'm good.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion then to start the approval of the minutes. We'll start with the minutes of council meeting August the 10th with the amendments to be corrected
You
by,
need to specify what the amendments are.
We corrected it before tonight, so what the printed document, it was just a typographical error. We had the word,
Weeks.
weeks, and it should have been Wells.
So what's in our packet is
What
correct?
was in your packet said weeks.
Okay.
Half an hour ago, we changed it to Wells. So,
Okay, So with that amendment, then you can vote
On all of them together.
on it. No, the first one is August 10th. That's
Okay.
the amendment.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of August the 10th with the amendments as noted from August 10th, 2026.
Second.
thank you, sir. Okay, so all those in favor of approving those council meetings with, of that meeting minutes with the correction as stated, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Motion carries.
What about the executive? You guys have any? Make a motion to approve the executive meeting minutes from August the 12th, 2026.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay.
I
We'll
make
move on then to the special meeting of August the 17th of 2026.
a motion that we approve the minutes for the special council meeting on Monday, August 17th, 2026.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we have a first and a second approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Move forward then. Thank you, council. Next up on the agenda would be the claims. Mrs. Barrett, I'll let you take that over.
Yes, in your packet, you received two claims. There was one for the end of month, June 30th, 2026, in the amount of $173,317.34. And then there was one for tonight, August 24th, in the amount of $1,188,780.81.
Council, are there any questions or
Rhonda,
discussion?
Rhonda answered my question today. Thank you, Rhonda.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims, both sets as submitted.
Okay.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion approved. Passing the claims. Okay, Mrs. Barrett, you're up again with ordinance number 2026-9, the transfer of appropriations, and this is the first reading.
Okay, and with this being the first reading, I believe they have the ability to waive this if they so choose,
That's
correct?
correct. It's
Um,
unanimous.
It's unanimous. Yep.
This transfer of appropriations, I move, transfer $55,000 from salaries to professional services, where we have had a company doing building inspections. We need to replenish that line item or miscellaneous professional services. We've not replaced the building commissioner, so the payroll for him, I'm just asking to move that amount down to cover the fees that we've been paying to the company that we use. And the other is moving $6,900 from attorney legal service line into promotional items line. This is to purchase the cradle roll.
The Joseph.
The Joseph Fund.
Fund.
This is to make a donation to the Joseph Fund so they can in turn purchase those lots.
Okay.
So, again, this is the first reading. It could be waived, or if you want to have a second reading, that's, and if you do approve it, then I'll go ahead and get the check. I probably need your approval also to do the donation.
Council, I personally don't have a problem with waiving the first reading on this, but if anybody else would, or you'd like to discuss it, that's fine as well.
I make a motion that we approve ordinance 2026-9.
We gotta do a waive.
Waive. I make a motion that we waive the first reading of ordinance 2026-9.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey,
Okay, now we're good, Sherry.
Now I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-9.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries.
We need to make a motion to approve the donation to the Joseph Fund.
Make the payment, yeah,
Is that how it needs to be said, Rhonda?
believe so. I know you guys approved to donate the lots, but,
that's our.
so we don't need that,
Yeah,
so we can
just
just
made
write
the
a check.
appropriation,
Okay.
they already approved it, you're good to go.
Okay.
We had already
All right,
technically.
thank you.
Thank you. Next up on the agenda is the, Mrs. Barrett, you're up again for the property lease reviews.
Yes, in the process of looking for some information recently, the three leases that we have for commercial, we've got two commercial properties and a rental house property, and the responsibility for repair is kind of varies on every lease. The rental house, the tenant's responsible for repairs, but any damages, and the town covers normal wear and tear. The medical clinic, it's basically the same, but with the fire station, it's up to the tenant to pay for any and all repairs, including normal wear and tear, and, so just wanted to bring that to your attention to see, do you want to leave them as is? Would you like for Dustin to review further, to update anything, or how do you want to proceed from that?
Well, I was looking at this, and I think they need to be a little bit more consistent.
They all need to be the same, for sure.
Uh,
Commercial.
Absolutely.
At least the two commercial need to be
Yeah.
the same.
So.
And I would be more in favor of the wear and tear is the leasee's responsibility, and then the leaseor would be responsible for the big, heavy building exterior. It's kind of what it says now in the medical clinic, but it's a little bit more all on the leasee on the fire station. So the fire station can more look like, is that what you guys think?
I totally agree. They should be the same.
So yes, I guess in agreement that they all do, I like them to be a little bit more consistent. Now, having said that, are you gonna go with that? Because the first one is actual residential and the other two are commercial. So are we talking to keep the consistency to separate the commercial from the residential? Is that what we're?
I think that it should be separate, because this is different than residential.
And there is only one residential, but there's only the two commercial.
And
So-
it would basically be the same.
So, for all of them?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so then I'll entertain a motion then,
So
To have
I
Mr.
make a
Huddleston.
motion to have Town Attorney Dustin Huddleston to review the fire station lease to more or less correlate to the medical clinic
Yeah.
lease. Is that good?
That is good.
Be second.
Second.
okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Thank you, Mr. Huddleston. Next up on the agenda, Rhonda, will be you again with the website records retention discussion.
Yes, in the process of working on the new website, Emily and Sarah Beth, the new website had asked about all the documents that we have on there. How long do they need to stay on there? We've got some minutes and agendas that go all the way back to 2011.
Uh-huh.
So Emily checked with the previous public access counselor and the current public access counselor, and there's really no specific guidelines as to how long you keep them on your website. There are specific guidelines on keeping the original copies in-house. But as far as the website, it's up to the current council said it's up to each municipality to decide. The one suggested 3 years, but I think 2 years would be sufficient. So that's up to you. So whether or not but they said that, suggested that the council approve a policy. So if you, again, Mr. Huddleston to draft a retention policy so permission for Dustin to draft a retention policy on website retention of documents. And you guys, if you want to discuss between yourselves how long you think it should be, 2 years, 3 years.
So if we go back and eliminate those from the website, we still have hard copies or access to those
Yeah, we
somewhere.
have-
Right,
yeah,
and
right?
change
We have-
forever.
Yeah, there's a retention policy on
See,
how
there's
we
a
have
separate-
those.
yeah.
So this is for website only.
Does that literally take up less, whatever the correct IT term would be,
Like,
give it more space for that as well? And as long as you can get it paper-wise, I think the 2 years personally would be fine as well.
is that,
That's fine, yeah, I think so.
Okay, then I'll ask for someone to entertain a motion, asking for permission for Attorney Dustin Huddleston to draft us a policy on that website retention records for no more than 2 years.
So moved.
Okay? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Do I have a second?
I'm sorry, did I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bryant, thank you, sir. All those in favor of that signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. So 2 years then for that
Got it.
website. You have that, Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mrs. Barrett, next item, the credit card processing fees discussion.
Yes, we are in the process of changing our credit card processing company, getting some new machines, and I have to sign new agreements on whether or not we pick up the fee or we pass it on to the customer. Currently, there's two different fees here that I have questions on. The first one, our online portal, it costs $1.25 for every online transaction that is processed. We used to pass that on to the customer. During COVID, we picked that up. It has, in 2025, the cost for that was $20,000. So far in 2026, the cost is $16,000 up for the first 3 quarters. That fee is split equally between, well, not equally, sorry. Kevin, you get 75% of it. I think Bill gets 10% and Bob gets 15% of that fee. That's based on the amount of revenues we receive on utility bills. There is also the 3.75% fee on the actual credit card processing. We have always paid that, but with changing, we've got the opportunity to pass that fee on to the customer. In 2025, that cost was $147,000. So far this year, it's at $89,000. So whether you want to pass both costs onto the customers, one of the two costs onto the customers, or us continue to pay all of the costs. I need to give them an answer I told them I would have them an answer tomorrow. So.
She needs, yes, so council, as she just explained, we do need to decide on this tonight. So, we can go singly here, you all can give your opinions on this.
What do you guys think?
And I had
Pass it on.
a little spreadsheet on it that, just to give you an idea, it's a $2.50 minimum, no matter whether you pay $5 on
For the
your
credit card?
bill, $5 on your bill or $67 on your bill. If you had a utility bill of $500, then that 3.75% would cost the customer $18.75 to pay that credit card.
So if the customer didn't want to pay that fee, they could just bring a check in?
Correct.
Or come in and use their debit card?
It's
Debit
gonna
cards, any
Even
kind,
for a debit card?
yeah, credit card processing.
But the auto billing, like I do, doesn't cost anything.
That's,
So they could bring a check in or sign up for auto billing?
I was gonna say, Rhonda, would you cover that? They either, for no fees, period. If you don't want any fees, you come in, you either pay for it with cash,
cash or check.
check,
Or, I don't think they charge us anything for the auto.
for
withdrawal.
auto draft. Okay. And you always have the drop box out here as well, so.
Yeah, so it's, it was like, we're changing, so.
Personally, I think it's a significant amount. I think
Yeah.
we probably should pass it on. And then knowing that there's options for people to not pay it by cash, auto billing, or bring a check in yourself.
They still do have some options.
Yes, there's three options to not pay that.
And I think the town's been pretty lenient with letting us do that. Well, COVID's been, since 2020, so about 6 years
Actually,
ago.
Yeah, the $1.25 has been since 2020. The other has been
Forever.
forever.
Ongoing.
And I think when we first went to the credit card payment option, we didn't have very many people. Now,
And there probably wasn't even a fee.
and probably not much.
Yeah.
It's gonna affect us as well if
And
we
it
utilize it.
helps the utilities. I was thinking of Bob on that to save him some money. So, because, 15% of $147,000, that's a kind of salty number. And even Kevin gets 75% of that.
Well,
I look at it as it's cost of doing business, utility company. I will speak for Bob or Bill, but as a customer, we're owed fees and taxes and so forth, and I realize it's a large chunk. But I look at it as a cost of doing business. Mentioned we Bill to speak for this, but we cannot anticipate this for our rates. traditionally, we try to push folks to conduct business electronically versus walk in and checks and so forth. And this will certainly discourage that. Because a lot of folks are going to pay that 3% and $1.25.
Auto draft.
It sounds like I'm not out on this discussion here, everybody feels maybe we should pass it along, but I think it's costly.
But I think most people, most places you go, I think, I mean, I'm immune to it. Any place I go and they ask to do that.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't believe on my Centerpoint bill or my Johnson Driver I can see bill. It's probably baked in there somewhere in the rate, right? I don't see a separate line item for the 3% and the $1.25.
I think it's like $250. I have the same billing.
An e-check option, like there are when you pay your property taxes, there's like
The-
a credit card with a fee or the e-check.
There is not,
Okay.
not right now, but I don't know if it's something that they could add later.
So just saying we didn't instill these charges now, when would be the next time to come up with it?
She's changing the system.
We're changing, so, we could, I don't know if we could revisit it with them later. Like I said, we can waive all fees, or if you wanted to start with just the $1.25, go ahead and reinstitute that, and then look later about maybe adding,
So we could look anytime later to
I
the credit
assume,
card charge.
I'm assuming that we can, but, with this new system there, and that's the next thing on the agenda, is to
Correct.
close the office so that they can hook up the credit card readers for the couple of weeks. So,
Would you be in favor, Rhonda, then of us, we can put this, let's see, are we gonna have another meeting before you do that installation?
we've got a budget meeting on the 31st.
Okay, so that's right, next Monday, so,
And I think this.
could you contact them?
I can ask them tomorrow.
Okay, then we could actually go ahead and put that on the agenda then.
Okay.
Again, with that special meeting, would you guys be in favor of that? Everyone be in favor of that?
I would like Rhonda maybe to figure out approximately what an average bill would be. So we could kind of figure out how much an average person would be paying.
Well, I know mine runs about $2.25 a month, $2.25, $2.50, it varies. So for $2.25, it would be $8.44. For $2.50, it's $9.38, you know. So
What is it, 3.25?
3.75%.
I know, I mean, I have people at work that come in through my office and my electric bill is $600, $500, so,
Yeah, $500 would be $18.75.
yeah.
For them to use that card.
Maybe if we even started with $1.25.
Yeah, if you wanted to do that, and then I can have them hold off on the other until I talk with them again tomorrow.
You know, when I pay taxes online, I pay a fee.
And it doesn't matter, again, we want to state this, that it doesn't matter that it's credit or debit. It's going to
Correct.
charge it either
Yes.
way.
Correct, it's just what the company that processes all credit card payments charges.
I think since we're here, personally, we're here Monday night again, I don't think it would hurt to revisit it then.
Okay, I can do that.
So I think about it.
They won't be here until the 10th, so
Okay.
I can call them tomorrow and ask for, to hold off just a little bit longer on that.
Okay, and adding on with that same conversation then, Rhonda, in reference to the new credit card processing system, then you're up with the utility office closing request.
Yes, on Thursday, September 10th, they will be installing those new credit card machines. And I believe these will have tap now. We don't have tap, so these will have the ability to tap. But they will be doing it that morning, so I'm requesting that the office be closed that day from 8 a.m. through lunchtime and reopen at 1 p.m. Because when people are installing new equipment, you just can't, it's hard to have foot traffic during that time. So, and then also, on Friday, September 11th, once they get those new machines hooked up, then the on-site payment website will be down, while they update the site. So people, and people will be, you know, unable to pay online on Friday and part of the morning on Thursday, but,
Well, that gives them, still, they have like, what, 10 days left for the bills due
Oh,
on the
yeah,
20th, if they want to use it.
yeah, so, and we will put it out on social media and hang some signs up in the office so that people know that we'll be closed that day on the 10th and that the website will be down that day. So I just need approval to close the office that day from 8 to 1.
Absolutely.
That's fine.
Council, is everyone okay with that date? Okay, then I'll need a motion then to grant Mrs. Barrett that time off. It would be Thursday, September the 10th, then, from 8 to 1.
Motion for the town to close the utility front office on Thursday, September 10th, from 8 A to 1 P.
Second. And we want to make clear that is for the new credit card machines to be installed.
For the
Okay?
new credit card machines to be installed.
Thank you. Okay, I have a first and a second then. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Wanda, now you're up with the building and construction related fees fund.
Yes, in legislation this year, there's House Enrolled Act 1001, and it added a requirement that we have a fund for building permit fees. The money that we receive in building permit needs to be in its own fund, and any expenses related to that need to be paid out of that fund. So I just need a motion for Dustin to draft an ordinance to create that new fund.
Make a motion that Dustin creates an ordinance to create a new building and construction related fees fund.
Mr. Frank, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion does carry to the building and construction related fees fund. Okay, next up, wastewater rates and anticipation bond discussion. John Myers and Mitchell Eschwater with Baker Tilly.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. As you guys know, that President Piercefield and I have been working with Driftwood and possibly hook it on to the town. That is moving a little slower than we anticipated. We're hoping to have some firm numbers from them to see where we stood on rate increases. But it's apparent that we need to go ahead and move forward with some kind of rate increase for wastewater. Mitchell with Baker Tilly has put some numbers together that he's going to present and explain to you and answer any questions that you may have.
So I passed out a presentation, I have it on the screen, is someone running that, or should I just change it from here? So as part of this presentation, I put together several different options. I think really at this point, what the town needs to look at is really finding the magnitude of the projects that you have in the immediate future, and then if there's projects that could potentially wait and you would do that maybe 2 or 3 years down the road. On page 2 of this report, I just put together some financing considerations when looking at this project. So like I said, really the first thing is going to be the size. So if you're going to pursue a financing, you really need to hone in on the size and the timing of when you're going to meet those needs. The next question is, how do you want to go about with that financing? We can either do a long-term financing, looking at something 20 years, all the way to 30 years, depending on the program you would choose. The other option you could do is a bond anticipation note, and the town has done that before with the electric utility on that project. In that case, you would do an interim financing. It could be a smaller financing for immediate needs. The term of that could be anywhere from a year up to 5 years. We would then look to take out an interim bond anticipation note through one of the programs here that I've listed out. So here's just some of the options. And each of these have different pros and cons that the town will want to consider for the project. You would have an open market financing. This is where you would go get a rating for the town, and you go sell this on the open market to some of the larger institutional investment firms. The next option we present is the SRF financing. I think the town is familiar with this. You've had SRF financing in the past. With this process, what you would look to do is get your preliminary engineering reports done from a consulting engineer. By April 1st of next year, you would submit that PER, and then SRF would rank and score your project against everyone else who submits PERs. That is funding that's coming to the state, often with lower interest rates than you can receive in some of these other programs. Another option is the Indiana Bond Bank. This is securing funding through the local Indiana Bond Bank here in Indianapolis. This would also be an option if you were to just do a bond anticipation note. You wouldn't have to do a long-term financing. Often when we go to the Indiana Bond Bank, one of their first questions is going to be, are you considering SRF? If not, why? They want to work with SRF. They don't want to compete with them in that aspect. So a lot of times they are a good program to go to if you're looking to do a bond anticipation note. We can also do, going back to the open market, we can do a bond anticipation note with that program. What we've seen here though recently is that banks are not as, they don't have much of an appetite for the bond anticipation notes as what we saw over the last couple of years. And that's really driven from during COVID when we were seeing really historically low interest rates. A lot of bond anticipation notes were sold and the banks are now sitting on that. They're sitting on these bond anticipation notes at 2% and really have to write them off on the books. So they're not a huge fan of bond anticipation notes, so I think Indiana Bond Bank would be a good option for them. The last one here is more of a newer program, Rural Water Financing Authority. This is actually out of the state of Kentucky. Similar program to the SRF pool program. They're using their higher credit rating. They're going out and issuing a large bond and they're passing it off to a pool of buyers. Advantages there, they're going to likely have a higher rating than most communities that go to the program. And then they also have some longer maturities and don't require debt service reserve that you're going to see in some of these other programs. As part of this analysis then, term of the bond, so ultimately how long do you want to pay on this? You can do 20 years, and then you can do with SRF up to 35 years for the full program, assuming the project would qualify with a useful life factor. So that's something we want to verify with the engineers, depending on what projects are selected to be financed. I also threw this in here too, capitalized interest. Some programs will allow you to capitalize initial interest on borrowing. And what that will allow you to do is not pay interest immediately on the loan, and you can build up your rates a little more over time instead of pay interest right off the bat. Just going through these programs, open market, you can capitalize interest. SRF typically will not allow capitalized interest. Indiana Bond Bank, if you were to do the long-term financing through them, that's a discussion we could have with them. I think they're open to it. And then the Rural Water Financing Authority does allow for capitalized interest. So that's a little bit different there with each of those programs. So just looking historically, I'm going to go to page 4. And really just focusing on the bottom graph. What we've seen in the last 3, 4, 5 years is a steady declining of the cash balances for the sewer utility. One of the main drivers there that we're seeing is just the repairs that are having to be made on the system. So you're kind of at that point where a lot of it is it's breaking and we're fixing and you're spending a lot of money. As we went through disbursements over the last couple of years, we're having to see a lot of money spent towards running equipment as well at the plant. And a lot of times that's a lot more costly than just going out and fixing it and taking care of the problem instead of continuing to throw money at that. So you can see here as far as cash balances at the end of but this is actually as of August 14th, you had $94,000 in the operating account and about $200,000 in depreciation. So that's really money available for your day-to-day operations, and then anything that would need repaired, capital investment on your system. I want to point out too, just looking at, I know every system's different, but just looking at the rates for Edinburgh versus communities on the south side of Indianapolis here. Edinburgh sewer rates were last adjusted in 2016. So the rates haven't been adjusted for the last 10 years. So a lot of times when you're looking at this graph, one way to look at it is we may be on the low end now, but a lot of times it's communities are jumping around as they do some of these capital investments that need to be done. So you can see here, wide range of communities, low end, about $38. We've actually started to see some of these communities break the $100 mark with significant capital improvements that need to be done. Going back to the cash balances we discussed, this is the cash balance as of August 14, 2026. $72,000 in the operating fund. So you can see we saw about a $20,000 decrease from year end. And then the appreciation fund is still at that $260,000 level. You also have money in a bond and interest account. Since those bonds are paid off, that money can now be moved to the operating and depreciation and be used for any purpose. And then you have a restricted account, the meter deposit fund, and that's restricted for return to customers when they come off the system. For a minimum balance recommended, and this is really looking at if you were to go out and issue debt to the sewage works, your bond ordinance that the town would adopt would have some of these requirements. At a minimum in the operating account, you want to have at least 2 months. Based on what we're seeing for a budget for 26, that'd be about $260,000 in the operating fund. The depreciation fund, we either base it on a capital improvement plan, or another way to look at it is how much is your system depreciating on an annual basis. And based on that number, we have $470,000. I will point out though, while depreciation is usually the best number unless you have capital improvements higher than that, often communities we work with are not able to fund up to the depreciation. It usually comes to a level that just makes your rates unaffordable. So to the extent you implement rates that are not at 470, it's not uncommon for what we see across a lot of different communities in India. So looking at the expenses for the sewage works in 2025, the first column there under 2025 actuals, total operating disbursements were $1,593,000. Based on what we're seeing in 2025, we made adjustments. Some of the larger adjustments you see here are really related to some of those repairs and maintenance and then rental of equipment that hopefully going forward and doing the electric fund loan we can talk about and a financing for some of these other projects, we'll start to see those costs come down. So what we're budgeting and built into our rate for 2026 is $1,553,000 for your operating, your day-to-day costs. So this does not include money for capital improvements outside of these numbers. So I prepared a couple different alternatives based on the size of the project that you would go out and do. This one is going to be the highest here. We're looking at $12.5 million, and we're looking at a financing over a 20-year period. The first column, we're looking at current operations. So this is before we're factoring in full payment on the bonds. For operation and maintenance, we have the $1,553,000. We've included a payback to the electric fund, assuming a loan of $400,000 paid back over 5 years, so $80,000 a year. We have a proposed bond, and this would be if you were to go issue debt right now and an interim interest payment. You could certainly remove this and move it back in the schedule, but trying to keep your increases level throughout this process. So we have built in $281,000 interest only on the bonds. And then in the first year, we have an allowance for capital improvements of $150,000. We take out interest income and miscellaneous income, so items you're receiving every year but are not subject to increase. So for your net revenue requirements that we would need to recover through your sewer collections, we have $1,967,500. Sewer collections for 2025, $1,576,000. So we're showing for current operations a shortfall of $390,000. That would be about a 25% increase or about a $10 increase for a customer using 4,000 gallons. In each of the next columns, what we're changing is we're increasing the operation and maintenance disbursements. We're adding a 3% increase each year, knowing that costs on your system are going to continue to rise. And we've also started to build in the proposed bonds. 27, 28 is full interest, and then in 2029, we propose having the debt service structure where you're starting to pay full principal and interest on that bond issue. And by structuring that, it allows us to, instead of having to implement rates all at once in 2027, you're able to do that over about a 4-year period if the town were to desire to do that. You can see here then at the bottom, the shortfall in 2027 would be $420,000. That'd be another approximately $11 increase. In phase 2 or 2028, 12% increase, $7.78. And then in 2029, an additional 12%, $8.42. One thing I do want to point out is at the bottom, you'll see there's the line for estimated debt service coverage. When we put together these scenarios, that's an important piece. When we go, depending on which financing institution you go towards, they're all going to require you to meet a debt service coverage target. For example, SRF is going to have a minimum of 125%. The Rural Water Financing Authority is 120%, so they're a little bit lower. But what we've built in here, you can see in the last year, we're at 135%. We want to have some cushion in case things were to come in higher than anticipated, that you're not at that, you're not at like 125%, and then you're not able to go forward with the financing because you're not meeting the requirements. So we have that a little bit cushion here. And for each of these scenarios, we are assuming an interest rate of 5%. Assuming you could go through a program like SRF, we would hope that your project will qualify. They would look at your income distribution for the town and hopefully get a subsidized interest rate, which right now would be closer to the high 2s or 3%. So trying to be conservative with the rate we're showing here, not knowing what program you use. Any questions on that? The other scenarios I can walk through are just the same thing, but we're lowering the financing, just to show you kind of the impact of the lower project cost. Again, this one was $12.5 million at 20 years. If I go to Appendix A, this would look at what if we just did a $5 million borrowing over 20 years, what would the impact be? You can see here for the current operations at the bottom would be 11%, about $4.55, 27, 10%, $4.79, 2028, 8%, $4.25, and then the final year would be 7%, $4.02. So you can see the impact that just lowering that by from $12.5 million down to $5 million basically. The financing does make a big piece of this. Appendix B is just showing you what $7.5 million would look like. There you can see at the bottom, average increase in the 4,000 gallon rate would range anywhere from $5 to $6 or to $7 for each of those alternatives. The final appendix here, Appendix C, what I wanted to be able to show you too was the impact that the term of the bond would have. So this is that same $12.5 million bond issue. Instead of doing it over 20 years, we're doing a financing for 30 years. Assuming that the projects would qualify with useful life of 30 years, just wanted to show the impact here. So you can see, just for comparisons, in the final year, the average 4,000 gallon bill at the end is $72.84 compared to our option. And back to the first scenario, we're at $78.50. So a rate impact of about $6, bringing down the 4,000 gallon bill, extending the financing out by 10 years. Now, anytime you extend the financing, you will be paying more interest. So that's kind of a cost that we always want, as well as when you're looking at financing. It makes sense as far as the rate impact versus the additional interest for longer term. So I think the next step for the town would be to narrow in on the immediate needs that you'll need to do. Look, maybe in the next 1 to 2 years, maybe in the next 5 years. We can certainly look at doing a long-term financing, or we can look at doing a bond anticipation now and then taking that out for long-term financing. And I know as John was saying, I think the discussion with Driftwood will have a big impact on this rate. Just seeing what you're collecting now versus what you could, if they were to connect to the system, I think you could see a significant reduction in what they need to raise having them on the system. So that's something you'll want to kind of lock in. So that may be a good way to think about doing the bond anticipation note instead of going out and securing a 20-year bond right now, knowing things are going to change.
So with the bond anticipation note, would it be quicker? Because I know we have immediate needs. And I know
Yeah.
it's going to take a minute to get some of these done.
Yeah, so of those 4 financing scenarios I showed on that screen, the Indiana Bond Bank is probably going to be the quickest alternative. There's an application process with them, and then you're typically closing, once you get through the application, you would apply at the end of the month, and they have closings usually around the middle of the month. Before you're able to close it, then you need to have the rates adjusted to be able to show them that you're going to have rates in place to be able to pay the bond anticipation interest back to them. And then as part of the drafting of the legal documents, you'll in that have that the pledge of the principal and the bond anticipation note is going to be paid from each of our bonds. That would be the quickest. SRF, like I said, you wouldn't look at getting financing until later, probably be in the fall of next year. Just because you have to wait till April 1st to apply to the program. They rank and score and they release that end of June, early July, and then you can start actually closing in August with them.
So a year.
With SRF, it'd be a year. Open market, you could probably get that done 4 to 6 months doing that program. Just really depends on how quickly you get through the rate and bond release adoption process.
If they did a bond anticipation note, then could they later do the SRF to pay that bond anticipation note off?
Yeah, we've done that in a lot of different communities. Often we'll see it where the bond anticipation note's done for the planning piece of the project. So you can also use it for the construction and then have SRF take it out. I think the best thing we'd want to do is if you're pursuing that route, we'd have conversations with the bond bank as well as SRF, making sure everyone understands the plan and is on board. As part of that process, SRF's probably going to require you just to submit invoices to them as you're paying the Indiana Bond Bank proceeds, just so you're not paying anything and we come to SRF a year or 2 years from now and they say, hey, that's not eligible, we're not going to pay for it. We want to make sure they see everything up front. When we go to close with SRF, everything's in place and it's a smooth process.
And with the bond anticipation note, that is an interest-only payment, correct?
Yes.
Can the bond anticipation note be a reimbursable? If we do this loan from the electric department to pay for the current major needs that we have, can that bond anticipation note be written to reimburse ourselves for that loan from the bond proceeds?
Good question.
We'll have to have a discussion on that.
Okay.
I'll have to see what the different partners are comfortable with. Yeah, well, I think we'll have to have a discussion. I don't have an answer for that today, but we can get that answer.
But you're also saying that if the driftwood works, that in 2 or 3 years, it could supplement what we have and not have to raise our prices quite as much, correct?
Yeah, so if you're able to get additional revenues on your system, that brings down what you have to do to increase for all of our customers.
So John, the main thing is we have to start with, first and foremost, the exact dollar amount of what we are exactly looking at to know what we're going to have to borrow, correct? Or how we go about financing it. So would I be correct in assuming that we start with, say, Westler Engineering and then move forward with their review or report
Exactly.
and
Yeah, so we'll want to get a number, and then with the bond ordinance, we'll typically authorize more in the bond ordinance just for some flexibility. But as far as the rate study, that's the piece that we need to know a little bit more concrete on what the finance is going to be.
exactly. Okay. John, you have anything you want to add? Okay.
So how do we get Westler started?
John?
How do we get Webster started, John?
We have to get a contract with them.
And she is the representative.
We can get you, and we've given you a proposal to do a PDR last year, but due to the financial situation, it was put off. So we can get you a new one to Dustin for the next meeting.
I think that's where we're at.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think so too.
You wanna do it for Monday?
So do we get it for the total cost or just project by
Well, it would
project?
be for the PDR, so, and it'll take several months to get that thing done, to really dive in. And we've got a pretty good idea, but, we'll want to really get you a really good cost.
Yeah.
So that it will, to do the rate structure properly.
And if you were to go out and do a bond in anticipation of, like Linda was saying, if we have a ballpark idea of what you're gonna need in the next couple of years, we can do a bond anticipation note for that. The bond issue, if there's more projects that they discover above and beyond that, let's say in year 3 or 4, the bond issue can be larger than the bond anticipation. So let's say we took out $5 million, and you determine we actually need 10, we can do a bond later on that's 10, and so take out the 5 million that paid the other projects that were more needy.
Get them started.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
At least to get started.
Yeah.
So do you want me to see if they can get a proposal to Dustin so that you can do it for Monday night? Dustin, is that gonna give you enough time?
Depends on when you send it to me.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. I don't know.
How about you just do your best and then I will let them know.
Yeah.
when it-
Perfect.
Worst case, we'll do it 1st of September.
Perfect.
I'll try to do it.
We can have it on the agenda for Monday.
And just in case.
Just in case.
We need any type of that phone action for that. Any other questions, council? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, that was very thorough. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on here. Next item will be the board and commission application process discussion. John?
Thank you. I was tasked with getting an application form by Miriam and talking to Julie and Emily. They already started on it, so they did all the work. And this is for application that people apply for boards and commissions, for different economic development, planning, zoning, just to open it up more and advertise it. It's a questionnaire, and you guys would go through the applications and
This would apply to all of us, any of us that are currently serving on, I'll just pick one randomly, the planning commission. Your terms up, this apply to all of us as well. So that was just an example, but I think this is long overdue. I've discussed it with the gals in the office many a time prior to doing this. So I think we're where we need to be with this. So I definitely am in favor of it. So do you folks need time to look over the application?
So currently now we just appoint people.
It's appointed.
Yeah.
They're just appointed. But this is an actual process
Okay.
that basically follows other entities, the same type of process.
And John,
The council in the end ends up approving, but at least this way we have a base to work with.
John, do you know other communities use an
Yes.
application process?
yes. I don't know of anyone who does it.
That
Every
does
county,
not
Greenwood,
reason.
Yeah,
Yeah, everybody has one.
thank you.
So,
So do you need, what do you need?
well, have all of you had time, it was just now in our packets, so have you had time to review that?
Yeah, I
actual app
reviewed it.
itself?
Last night.
Okay, do you have any corrections or amendments? Anyone?
I would like to study it a little more. Would that be okay?
Oh, sure. Would you like Rhonda to add that to Monday night's meeting as well? Or is that enough time, or do you want it on the next?
No, because I will not be here at the next Monday night.
Okay, so the next
September.
Yes.
September meeting?
Would that be okay? Is that too late?
Okay, if you have any questions or anything, I know
I
Emily
might
worked
come in
on
and
it, I know
talk to you guys
Julie's
about
worked on it, Emily, John, Rhonda, I don't know, they've all worked on it.
So if you think it's similar to,
They are.
okay, then I really don't have any questions. I looked through it, but I
We
didn't.
just cut and paste, took from different,
That's my favorite thing to do. Well, then I really don't have any questions. If it's been looked at and approved and used in other cities, then I'm fine.
Okay. So you all would be in favor of going ahead and continuing on with this process, then or not? We could, go ahead and pass, we have to be unanimous, Justin. Okay. Well, then I would entertain a motion then, to approve the board and commission application process discussion that we just had.
I'll make a motion to approve the board and commission application process.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Thank you, council. Motion did carry. Okay. The Motorola portable radio purchase, Mr. Long. Chief White.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening. In front of you tonight, you should see a quote to purchase 10 Motorola radios. It'll finish out our inventory. I've talked about it last couple of years. We bought 10 last fall. I've always tried to use my public safety money for this, so hold out towards the end of the year, make sure no emergencies pop up. But this is something, $66,973.50. Motorola is part of Sourcewell. We've used that in the past. Basically, what that is it gives us the state Indiana QPA pricing, which kind of negates us to have to come out and get quotes for it. It's already bidded out pricing through the state. Like I said, we've used Sourcewell before. I gave the contract information to Mr. Huddleston. Plan to pay for this, like I said, on my public safety money. This was part of something that's been on my capital assets plan the last few years. It's just such a large purchase. We're trying to break it up a little bit, try to make it a little easier to pallet and be able to see if we have public safety money coming in. But is pretty much a critical need for us. Our current radios, these little Kenwoods that are pretty much at the end of their life. So just like permission to purchase these 10 radios to finish out our inventory.
You can only stretch them out for so long, can't you?
But
Don't
you
do so
can, then
much.
gets big repairs is usually on these end up being $2,000 or $3,000 just to get the old ones back up to par. So it's just time to move on and
Move on.
replace
This is-
what we can.
And council, I'll just remind you, this isn't the first time Justin's forewarned us that this was coming down the pipe. So,
And Justin, this needs a signature, correct? Can you sign this, or is it?
I can, but I'll take anybody's.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and purchase the Motorola Solutions for $66,973.50.
Second.
thank you, council. All those in favor of this purchase signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. Now we'll need that signature motion.
Motion for Justin Waller, Chief Justin Waller to sign the Motorola purchase order.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Justin. Next up will be the police vehicle donation by Chief Lure.
Yes, Council. The Edward School Corporation contacted me about what we were going to do with, because we've got a couple of Dodge Chargers that we normally would be sending out for bid to see what we could get out of them. They were asking if the council would be interested in donating a vehicle to the school. The purpose of that vehicle is it's a good deterrent. It's a police car. It looks like a police car. It's also going to be used for their safety and security, so they'll be moving it around. It'd be their vehicle. It will not have our logo on it. They'll have to come up with their own. It won't have our police lights on it because they can't legally have those, at least in operation. Other than being a deterrent, they are still holding on to the hope that someday we'll be able to put a school resource officer back in our school. This is just one step farther, the things that we can have kind of in place. because it's just a vehicle going back and forth between the schools and it's a great deterrent, I think it's a good option for us versus what little bit of money that we actually make off of these cars when we send them out for bid. So if the council was interested in allowing them to have one of those vehicles, I would just get the year, make, model, and VIN to Dustin so he can draw up the contract like we did. We did something similar to this last year for another police department, and they are ecstatic. It's the only way they've been able to survive. So
I thought that, yeah, I remember you telling us that, Chief. That's great.
yeah, Carthage is they're still out there running today.
Okay.
Any questions?
I'm okay with it.
I think it's a great thing, yeah.
You need a motion?
I make a motion that we go ahead and the police vehicle donation to the Edinburgh School Corporation, and that Dustin will go ahead and make the contract for that.
Second.
Thank you, council. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief, for that. Let's see. Next up, you're up again, Chief, with the vehicle pursuit standard operating procedure amendment.
Yes, council, if you haven't heard, unfortunately, we lost another town marshal up in northern Indiana that was killed in the line of duty. Lynn Town Marshal Brad Fisher was killed in the line of duty in a pursuit. Currently, we have stop sticks. We were blessed with stop sticks some time ago. And stop sticks, if you're not familiar with them, they're sticks that you try to set out, pull it across, deflate the tires. It's a great procedure. It works. However, you got to be out of the car. And unfortunately, people running anymore just don't care. They keep running over. Trooper Aaron Smith was killed on I-70 in a very brutal thing, where he was trying to deploy stop sticks and was killed. With that, we have the option to add something to our SOP, which is called PIT, or Precise Intervention Technique. It is basically where the officer gets behind, taps the rear end of the car. It's called driving through, where we just keep going. It spins them out. The other pursuing officers then box them in to be able to safely stop the pursuit. It's another tool that we need in our toolbox. You want to ask why right now? Besides Trooper or Town Marshal Fisher, recently in Edinburgh, Indiana, we just did a felony stop on a guy that shot his wife in Whiteland less than 4 weeks ago. So it does happen in our town. We hope not to have to use this. It would be a technique that I would be able to teach because I'm actually a PIT instructor through the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. We would limit it to a certain amount of officers. I don't need to train 14 people to do this. Probably an officer per shift. And then the rest of the officers would learn what their role is, which is basically boxing them in, and we can safely terminate these pursuits. We don't do a large amount of pursuits anymore. We used to have one every couple of months. Unfortunately, some commercial businesses just don't report their thefts anymore, so it just gets passed on to us. But if we don't have, all the tools in that toolbox to make some decisions on how we're going to terminate a pursuit, if we're even going to pursue, we're just, kind of handcuffing the officer, so to speak. So what I'm asking permission for is for you to allow Dustin to look at my SOP into adding this PIT policy in there in the best interest of the town. He's going to know just as much as I will about, all the legalities of it. But I went through PIT school and became an instructor earlier this year, and it's something that almost everybody's having to do now. Bargersville, even with their Teslas, can PIT cars. Johnson County Sheriff's Department just went through PIT and actually utilized it just north of Edinburgh, probably around 6 months ago. You don't use it very often, but it's another tool in the toolkit. Any questions about what PIT is or why I would want to add it?
No.
You answered everything I had.
Yeah.
Me too.
So if you guys don't have any questions, I'll make a motion for Dustin to add the PIT procedure to the current policy,
Second,
standard operating policy.
second it.
Okay, council, we do have a motion in favor of this. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Justin, just got that in control, right? The 2027 Ford truck quotes, Mr. Barnett.
Mr. Council, I got a 2027 Ford F600, small dump truck. The warranty information is 3 years, 36 miles, 36,000 for 36 months, 60,000 on powertrain for 60 months. The lowest bid came out of Ford Bloomington.
How many miles do you put on a dump truck a year?
Not very many.
I just didn't think you would either.
We'd probably hit that 3-year mark.
Is this a replacement or?
Yes,
How old is the truck you're replacing now, sir?
20 years.
Oh,
20 years.
are you gonna keep it, or are you gonna sell it, or?
I would like to get it to another department. It's got a newer bed on it. Yeah, it'd be up to,
Maybe in the cemetery or somewhere that
Yeah.
doesn't use it as much because it's a diesel and it's sure to have a lot of problems and diesels are not cheap to work on.
and this is a gas, which we could work on ourselves. if We need to.
Did you budget for this?
Yes, it
Last
is
year.
in the 2026 budget.
So the council, you had this before you did, and he listed the companies and the pricing and his recommendation from,
Community Ford of Bloomington?
Yes, he's been great to deal with.
Any questions?
everybody's good thing.
Anybody wanna make a motion? Make a motion, for the purchase of the dump truck from Community Ford of Bloomington for $101,949.50.
Thank you, council. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? None? Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Do
Barnett.
you need a signature?
Yes, need a
And
signature
I was
on
going
it.
to say, do we need a signature?
Make a motion that Vice President, be able to sign.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir. Next up would be the electric meters quote. Mr. Kellinger.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
First item is to replenish our meter stock. Wesco is our vendor for our tankless meters for our system. With the storms that we've had, Timbergate, and the current change-out program, we would like to place an order. We have a 13 to 15 week lead time. So you have a quote in front of you for $34,725. This will be for 150 meters.
Is this all you need? Or is this will cover?
No, you think this is enough? Okay. Council, any other questions?
Make a motion that we approve the electric meter purchase for $34,725 from Wesco.
Second.
Thank you, council. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? None? Motion passes. Mr. Kellinger, you're up again, sir, with the Timbergate Section 5 underground electric installation.
Yes, second item is to approve the quote for Electricom that will install the conduits for Section 5. The electric department will take over after the conduits are installed on pulling the wire, setting the transformers, and making those connections. You have 3 quotes. We asked for 5. We had 3 respond, and Electricom was the lowest. The next closest quote was Hoosier Edison for just over $71,000. So Electricom is $59,146.75.
I just have a question on this top line hands. Was there a reason they were almost 250,000?
I thought that too. That was a big jump, wasn't it?
Or they just did it for a joke, or?
That was a surprise, so I don't know if they just really didn't want to work and threw a high number out.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes that works, and
That did it, didn't it?
yeah,
Because it looked like they were providing the same
right.
exact items. Okay,
Any other questions,
I
council?
don't have any. Make a motion to approve the quote from Electricom for the Timbergate Section 5 for $59,146.75.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carries. Do you need a signature for that, sir? Okay. And then, you're up next with the poles and lights quote, sir.
Yes, last item is to replenish our decorative streetlight stock. We have 6 lights on the quote in front of you. 4 of those are planned for a project and 2 will be for spares. So we would like to go ahead and place an order to get these in the queue for production.
I make a motion that we go ahead and order 6 more of the streetlights for $25,188 by Stress Crete Group.
Second.
Thank you, council. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion does carry.
Thank you.
Thank you,
you.
sir. Going to move right along here with the other business. We'll start with the council. You have anything for us tonight, Mr. Bryant? Okay. Mrs. Sweet?
We do not tonight. Thank you, everyone, for all your service to our town.
Mrs. Buck?
No, nothing tonight.
Okay. I just want to bring forth that, to make note that, John, our town manager, worked out at the, tire recycling, was it Saturday before last, John, with the, recycling district. And they had a fairly good turnout apparently, from what I was told from the director there. But we appreciate that, John. I know you were trying to do that to help offset budgetary wise, and with what we're going through with all the budget, that was a nice gesture on your behalf. And we do appreciate all your work, all the departments, not just that, but I thought that was great. I pulled up there myself for my recycling, and John was there with the tire crew. So, thank you, sir. That's what I had in mind. So, we'll move on. Mrs. Barrett?
Yes, I left one thing off the agenda.
Okay.
We have a couple donations for the K9 golf outing. The total $1,505. The two donors are Ward Hall's motorcycle Indianapolis chapter, and then a Bruce Maxwell. So the total is $1,505. Just need approval to accept those donations.
I'll make a motion to approve the donations for the K9 Fund golf outing for $1,505.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, council. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you, Rhonda. Is that it? Okay. Mr. Myers?
I don't have anything to
Okay. Start with, I'm sorry, Attorney Nelson? Sorry. Okay, Chief Will.
So the people program to War Falls, they were here last year and donated to us last year. What we do is they come down to the motorcycle ride, we do an escort to get off, everyone had a good time. Both of our K9 guys came down and did a demo for them, so they got to see the dogs in action and at work. Most of them were police and even so then it's a good time, those guys come out, volunteer their time to come out here and donate to our K9 program. Knowing, eventually we're going to have to purchase some new dogs, so we can and then thank you, council, for the cars, car for the school. We work with our school, Bob Straw, a lot. We can see each other. Unfortunately today, and a false alarm, but it's better to get a false alarm than a good alarm. They're investing, the school's investing in safety for our kids. Do some different software stuff that ties in dispatch center. When people ask me questions about that, we answer those questions. That's basically, we get alerts to our phones from a teacher if she has a problem, she or he has a problem in school. And it's instantaneous. We went back to our schools and that great community. Other than that, it's a blessed day.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Lawler.
I just wanted to publicly thank you guys. This is my third budget year. Your support tonight, Debbie Owen noticed, you guys been extremely fair for me, working with me. We've got great equipment, good people, personnel, so we just want to applaud you guys on your just push to your investment in public safety in this community. So definitely on notice, it does make our job easier, having good equipment, people, and the time, so just appreciate your support. Fixing that up, so appreciate it.
You're welcome, Justin. We can help others like they've helped us in the past too. That's the way I look at it. So you and Chief both do a great job with that.
We appreciate both your leaderships.
Your officer, their chief? Mr. Pendleton. You got anything in mind? Okay. Julie? Okay. Mr. Jesse?
Justin said what I was going to say. I probably appreciate the show my gratitude to the council for illustrating the experience for which I'm department. It means a lot to me. I've worked in the town for well over 30 plus years, and I use my sense of pride.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman behind Mr. Jesse. Okay. Mr. Jones.
Your work on 222.
Okay. Mr. Barnett.
Thank you for the new truck. I appreciate it.
Okay. Mr. Killinger. Okay. Daniel, you're in the hot seat.
Oh, let's see, we had the downtown firecracker banner, we did 250 years, one-time use thing. We've had people that have been interested in purchasing them from us, taking them down. We don't have a reason to keep them all. Sarah Beth and Fonda, we had a discussion with State Board of Accounts, and said we had to deem them surplus or something, get rid of them. We only paid $35 for a piece, $36 a piece. We're thinking we'd sell them maybe for $20. But that'd be better than just collecting dust in the basement of the community center. So if the council is so deep, we could do that. We appreciate it.
Do I have any resolution?
Do you need a motion for that?
Yes, we do. Yes.
We make a motion that we bless the community by letting them purchase some of the banners from our 250th anniversary. $20.
Second.
Thank you, council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Great idea, Daniel. That it? Okay. Just that little thing, Daniel, that little fall festival thing?
Sometime in September. Yeah, it's you've probably seen, I mean, I know some of you were involved, but the parade route's gonna be a little bit different this year. Same round.
Would you like to go ahead and elaborate on that, Daniel, while we're here?
Yeah, so instead of starting at the high school tennis courts and going east side, starting east side and heading out there. And the idea behind it, correct me if I'm wrong, but is because of the 252 construction, to give more availability at the end of the parade to have escape routes to get around town. Just because the flow is a little bit better from the high school than it is from the elementary school side. So that way, all the parade entries can kind of disperse a little bit quicker. So it should be, and we have grand parades, our holiday lights parade starts at the elementary school. So it's not something the town hasn't experienced before, but Fall Festival is a different parade, it's a bigger parade, so that will change things a little bit. That is the change, the main change. There is, I think we announced the last council meeting, that there is going to be one new ride, it sounds like this year, bumper cars. So,
Oh, my.
get out some frustration.
That'll be interesting.
It's
I'll teach you fit.
Yeah, there you go.
That's where you can do your training.
Yeah.
And thank you, Daniel, for stressing that the main reason behind that move is first and foremost safety. I mean, we had to involve Chief, we had to involve John, and several of the others that, besides the ones that host the parade, it's just, it is a lot to perform, and the more people we can get up on the same page to make it safer, the better. So we'll see how it works this year. And like you said, you've already started several year parades at that location too. So I think we'll be fine. Thank you, Daniel. Sarah Beth?
Council will have to prepare a resolution on the banners, because it will have to be surplus, so I'll be sure to approve and prepare that.
Okay, thank you, Dustin.
Whenever we do that, we'll do the resolution.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, Sarah Beth.
I did request a meeting with Mike Kleinpeter for next week to sit down and talk about Stellar with Tom and Rhonda. You received that information in your packet. I think I gave it double to you. It was in your packet. I handed it to you as well. And so we'll get the ball rolling. So looking at the different guidelines and that we need to take to pursue Stellar pathways. And again, it's the state grant that was with about 7 or 8 different agencies. And so there are matching dollars required for that, but it's a little bit to get a lot. So we'll just look into that and keep the council posted. I would love if any council member wants to be more involved in that. I know throughout the process, it would be great to have someone on board working. It'll be an extensive and lengthy process. But I know our first letter of intent is to let it in the year, early December 15th. So we'll be hard to work on that. Today I applied for a $4,000 grant from the Indiana Arts Commission for a project next year, just kind of after the amphitheater is done, looking at kind of our fall festival and doing some art projects downtown with some window installation. So no matching funds required, just letting you know I applied for that. And then as Rhonda mentioned earlier, we're working on the website still, and so we did receive at the end of last week a new site map. So Emily and I are going through that site map and taking a look at what our department heads have sent us and making sure that everything is cohesive and it's going to work, and so we're still hopeful for a November rollout of a new website on that.
Awesome.
Oh, I do have one more thing. I've mentioned in the last few meetings about the Spaces for All and the Knox County Housing Coalition. So we've still been working on those proposals, and now we're working on what kind of communication and marketing do we want to do in the community to talk about the different options that we have with our landlords and some of the vacant homes and vacant lots. One thing actually, I don't think William is here, the city, Cincinnati actually issues a fee for abandoned houses. So we're going to look into that. That could be something that would deter people from doing that. So we'll look into that as well. The Johnson County Housing Coalition did reach out and ask if the town would be willing to assist in any way. And so I asked them to be a little bit more specific. And so I looked back at, I believe it was 2024, Leanne Wilbur with Habitat for Humanity came and asked the council to waive the permit fees, and I believe the utility hookup fees for the Habitat House. So I sent that to the coalition and like, here are some things that the council has done in the past to assist with these types of initiatives. And then I asked them to just come to a meeting with some of their needs. They did send me a list, and it was, dump trucks, because they're looking at purchasing a home on Pleasant Street that I think needs to be totally demolished. And so they were asking if the town would be able to assist in any way with that, and whether that's waiving fees to park a dump truck there for a weekend for them to start with renovation and things like that. So I did ask them to come, but just so you know, are aware of anything about that.
Thank you, Sarah. So, yeah, I remember her coming. What was it, last year?
I think it's 2024.
Okay. Anyone else from the town? Okay. If not, then I'll entertain, ask for public comments. Okay. If there are none, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Okay. This concludes this portion of the evening.